it going, YouTube? Anime Bar Lounge. Today, we're talking about some One Piece trading card game. We're almost through Op03, but before the format ends, I wanted to share one of my favorite decks from this format that I came up with. It's the Sanji deck, green-blue. You gotta try this deck out. It's a ton of fun. I'm gonna be posting the deck list in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So here's the list. We'll run through each card. I'm gonna leave these 4 cards, a play set of the same card. Secret until the very end. See if you can guess what it is before I reveal it. So the first engine we have are these 12 cards right here. We got the Kaya, the Sanji's Peel-Off, and the You Can Be My Samurai. This deck is trying to draw like no one's business, so any of these cards early game are going to be great. I would recommend keeping starting hands that have Kaya in them, just so you can basically choose your hand at the start of the game. The deck's also running a bunch of Wano stuff that also draws cards, so we also have Raizo and Momonosuke to search. We have Izo for 2k counters or to rest annoying blockers on the opponent's field if we're trying to push for game. And we're also playing a few copies of Shinobu to trigger Sanji's ability. We have this one of Kazuki Oden that would consider that the deck's finisher. I usually steer away from running one-ofs, but this deck draws so many cards that unless this guy gets tucked into your life, you're almost guaranteed to see him in game either from drawing or Momo searching. So a one-of is fine, and you don't run into too many scenarios where you want to be playing a second copy during the game anyway, so the one-of has been serving me just fine in this scenario. We're also running the Sentomaru engine, so we have our Sentomaru, a one-of Kuma, one-of for the exact same reason of the Oden. You will see this guy most games. The blocker Pacifista, just because it's good to have him as an alternative option for worst case scenarios, and the Pacifista, the vanilla one, perfect for triggering Sanji's ability or grabbing from deck to beat your opponent's face in. We are running some blockers. We got the Boa Hancocks and the Killers. And I didn't cover this, but we got the Paradise Waterfall, which goes great with these blockers because every now and then you will find scenarios where you can block, draw, and then use Paradise Waterfall to untap them, giving your opponent a weird sort of, if they didn't see it coming, conundrum where they either have to swing again and give you another draw or kill it with a removal spell. Alright, were you able to figure out what this card is? I'll give you one last hint as I'm about to reveal it. It is a 1-drop, it's blue, and it is Yosaku and Johnny, the one of 3k. Might be wondering, why am I playing this and not just more vanillas? Well, the trick is, because this deck is so good at drawing cards, late game you will almost guaranteed have 20 or less cards in your library. So, the way this deck wins, on top of slamming an Oden, is playing down a bunch of these to refill your board, because your opponent was presumably trying to clear board all game, and if they haven't, you've probably done enough damage to them from the Sentomaru engine to kill them, and if they have been clearing your board, they haven't done enough life damage to you that you can usually just throw a bunch of these guys down late game and your opponent has no idea what to do, because if anyone's played Zoro decks, you know how scary Weenie Swarm decks can be, and so this is the deck I came up with. It draws a lot of cards. It's a bunch of fun. I highly recommend testing it out. I know Op03 is almost over and you only have a couple weeks. But I feel like this deck would also be fun to play maybe for the first couple weeks of Op04 when people haven't quite figured out the format. Haven't figured out what cards I'm going to add or take away from this deck, but I definitely am intending to keep this deck together because I just love drawing cards and the deck is so fun. Well, that's about it, YouTube. Thanks for watching the Sanji deck list. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely try the deck out if you can, and subscribe if you haven't. And thanks for watching Anime Bar Lounge, talking about the One Piece trading card game. Take it easy.